Welcome. Week 5 is in the books. We have an exciting update for you guys here with the slew of videos coming out with the state of the franchise. Yes, special guest Grant coming in. We're going to be talking about your franchise and your future. Let's go.
So next, Joe, we got the replacements. They're 3-5. Currently, they're 3 games back out of first place. In the power ranking, the 35 was kind of mediocre, right in the middle, which that's what the record is. They've scored 2,003 points and given up 2,200 because they've given up more points than they've scored. And they're 2-2 in their division.
Not bad. He's right in the mix. He could make some few adjustments here. We'll look at the roster to see what kind of adjustments, but I feel like he's not out of it yet, that he could make some adjustments to be competitive this year.
Well, that being said, in the conference, he's 3 games out of the playoff, out of the wild card, which is your team, by the way.
Okay.
So he's 3 games behind you. So that's a lot of ground to catch up. And I don't know if you played him head-to-head yet or not.
I think we've all played each other with all the doubleheaders we've had.
Let's see here. Because you're going to play him twice, I believe. Let's go by franchise here. You beat him in week 2, and that's all you've played.
Yep. Okay.
You play again in week 11, so.
I like having the doubleheader weeks.
You say you do?
Yeah. Yep. It makes it a little bit more interesting.
It makes every week very important, doesn't it?
Yeah. Although I wouldn't do doubleheaders on during bye weeks.
No, and we don't, by the way, in case anybody hadn't realized that. We don't do that.
Yeah.
We try to get you to play 17, 18 games, whatever it is, just like the NFL. We just play in a condensed version.
Yep.
And that's how we do what we do.
All right. So, yeah, the replacements here, right?
So you got quarterbacks. You've got a pretty good selection of old guys. Not as bad as maybe what Rick has there in his team as far as old guys, but Garoppolo's not a spring chicken. He's not, as far as quarterback goes, he's got a lot of years left. Goff has a few years left. Stafford's getting up there, and Trubisky's out of a job. So Stafford, his problem, he's been such a letdown this year because his offensive line, they said the 5 weeks that they've played, they've had 5 different starting offensive line setups. So that's kind of hard to get consistency there for the guy. Goff has looked surprisingly well. He's got 94 points, and he's got some targets. And, yeah, I'm impressed. And Garoppolo just got the job back. So,
yeah, with Stafford, I feel like you're gonna score points just because they force feed the ball over to Cooper Kupp. But man, I really don't. He's only got 1 year left. I mean, yeah, I would be riding Goff, man. He's got all the offensive talent over there, and they're scoring the ball. So, yeah, I would really look at getting some fresh young blood in here.
Now, as far as the running backs goes, he got a real help with Jamal Williams going down because he's got Melvin Gordon, the benefactor of that.
Yeah.
He's got Gordon. He's got Josh Jacobs, who's playing out of this world this season, and Jeffrey Wilson, who's the benefactor of Elijah Mitchell going down. So he's got 3 starters that aren't, what I'm trying to say. They're good, I guess what I'm trying to say. And he's got Michael Carter, who plays a lot. So he's pretty solid there, running back. I like his running back scenario a lot.
Yeah, they're all seeing the ball, and McKinnon, I think, is going to be getting the ball a little bit more as the season goes on. But otherwise, yeah, he's been the beneficiary of some injuries, but we'll keep that in mind.
Moving down to wide receivers, I'm not really seeing anybody here on his roster that jumps out. I know Curtis Samuel had a few good weeks at the start of the season, but that has tamed down. We never know what Nelson Aguilar is going to do, right? Randall Cobb is old as Moses.
Yeah.
Marvin Jones was Moses' brother. Devontae Parker's just not really doing it in New England. He's got that rookie Pierce, who might be, something eventually.
Well, Pierce has seen a lot more targets. He didn't see any targets the first 2 games. I mean, really any play. But the last 3 games, he's gotten 5, 6, and 9 targets, and produced 60 yards, 80 yards, and 80 yards. So last game he went 8 for 81 and 9 catches. I actually watched this game a little bit, and I did like his body of work.
And back to Samuel, his first two weeks of the season was stellar, as good as anybody. But since then, really has, as you said, put in pedestrian work since then.
Well, if he scores, they're back to stellar again. You can see he's getting the targets 10, 7, and 8. I feel, because I've had McLaurin on the other side, and I just felt like that he's been being targeted more than McLaurin.
I thought, though, with Dodson being out for the last 2 weeks, that he would put up better numbers, and I just didn't see that rise there personally from what I'm looking at.
And they like to rush with him too. I mean, he's got 8 attempts at rushing.
Very fast, very fast.
So, but he's kind of like with me in the wide receivers. You're plugging and playing, hoping you can find a hot guy this week, that week. And I believe Marvin Jones he's gotten 11 targets last week. I mean, I look for guys with that get the targets, but
you're right. Marvin Jones actually had a decent week, 11 targets. He had 7 receptions, 104 yards receiving. That's his best week by far, as far as that goes. He did have a score a couple weeks back, but
yeah. No real studs, but I think you can get by. Because the depth of the wide receiver of the league, the IDP. Wide receiver, like you could get by with this type of wide receiver, but because as long as you get a guy that gets like 10 points and then 15, and maybe one of these guys produces a 20-point game, and then you're happy.
Yeah. Smith, Schuster, and Woods are they're there. There's nothing really to write home to your mother about with those guys. They're okay, but
Yeah, consistently, I mean, Smith-Schuster, outside of one game, has seen 8 targets every game, which is not bad coming from Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, because he does spread it around pretty good.
So.
Tight ends, Ertz is having a very good year. He's got him 77 points this year. And he has seen 10-plus targets in 3 of the 5 games.
Yeah, that's good. I like the targets.
Really good. Because honestly, I thought when Philly got rid of him that he probably was done.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of confidence in him, but I wasn't going to pay a price for him either. I know people were putting him out there, but I'm just not interested in that. But he's outproduced, like Notch and Tunyon and Irv Smith Jr.
Yeah.
So.
And his other tight end, Austin Hooper, brother, if I was you, I'd just cut him, catch and release. I mean, there's nothing there. There's not a trophy fish there. So,
yeah.
Find another tight end for week 13 when Ertz is not able to play, because I don't believe Austin Hooper's your man.
Nope, I don't even. He's getting one one target. Like
at this point, he's not rosterable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kicker, decent kicker for third line. Defensive tackles, moving on there. He's got some decent guys. There's probably better guys that could be picked up off the waiver wire or you could trade for. So you should probably consider looking at that.
Yeah, I agree.
And defensive ends, I'm disappointed with the dude from the Colts, Yannick. How do you say his last name?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, he earned that $10 million contract because of what he did, years prior. He's not doing it this year, so I don't know if let's look at him. Has he been hurt? Has he missed some games? No, he hasn't. He just had 2 games that were over 16 points and 3 games that were under 10.
Yeah, I mean, looking back, I mean, he had 10 sacks last year total, 211 points total, but he had some really pedestrian games, 0, 4, 8, 6, 0, 6, 2, 6. But then you got, 30, 28, 21. I like to see the consistency.
And I like that kid, that Rasheem Green. I mean, I never heard of this guy before, but he's put up some decent numbers for him. 90 points.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, he's gotten a few half sacks here and there, but I mean, for the most part, he's getting the tackles and the assists. He's being around the ball.
And then the bad news is with Leonard Williams. I mean, he's got his MCLs hurt, and he hasn't played since week 2. He got hurt in week 2, so that's his big money guy. Well, I honestly thought with Yannick and Leonard, he was going to be all right at defensive end. It's just not been the case for this guy, unfortunately, this year. But Williams is a guy definitely to hold on to, build around. He's still young, and he's got all the talent in the world, I believe.
Yeah.
Then moving to his linebackers, here's where the Red Cross MASH unit has moved in and ransacked this guy's roster. I mean, he's lost his 2 best linebackers in Landry and Bosa. It's just, it's terrible. Landry hasn't played it down, and I think Joey's out for the year.
Is he?
Maybe not. It's just groin. It doesn't specify here whether it's the 4-week version or not, but.
Well, I think it's 4. I think it's like minimum 4 weeks, and then you can take him off as needed.
Yeah. Okay. That's a big punch in the gut for him, because I like Shaq Barrett. He's not been producing his normal Shaq Barrett way, but he's a good player. But and Roquan Smith, there's his one nugget right there.
Yep.
Roquan Smith.
I mean, his linebacker looks like his strongest point on defense here, and it looks just decimated with the injuries. But I mean, they're still 86 and 70 points. So those guys aren't no slouches either at this point.
Now you move on to his cornerbacks. He might have the best 2 cornerbacks in football on the same team.
Yeah, Ramsey and Sneed.
Yeah, Ramsey and Sneed. I mean, wow. Look at that. Sneed's got 145 points. That is out of sight. That might be the most points anybody has I've seen today. Has it?
I think Josh Allen had 146.
Okay, so there you go. Well, that he's putting up quarterback numbers. How about that? That's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I mean, he's got 8 tackles, 7, 5, 7, and 5, so no less than 5 tackles a game. So he's around the ball. Got some assists, and they're blitzing him too, because he's got 3 sacks and 3 forced fumbles. So he's being around the ball.
So that could be a guy that he would package up to trade to somebody to fill some of these other holes, possibly, as we talked about. But yeah.
that is it. If I mean, you got him for 3.7 million for 4 years. I mean, that would be a dude that I would look at. You know, what am I trying to do right now? Am I trying to win, or am I trying to like go for the next year or two? Because this guy could be very eye catchy to someone who needs this position, and they're going to be making a push here.
You're right. It's all dependent upon what his plans are. If he's thinking he can make the playoffs this year, then he needs to keep him. But if he's building for the future, or I'm sorry, other way around. He may want to move him to help him get better players to make the playoffs. But if he's playing for the future, then he's definitely got to build around. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, it's hard to trade away a corner for like an offensive player. So I would look at a package.
Right.
Agreed. Like X player, this player for that player, and and a pick. But yeah, I guess it just depends on who wants to trade for him. They might think because he scored 145 points so far that he's going to be like 2 first-round draft picks. And it's like, well, it's a corner. Like, I think corners probably top out at a second round. Especially if you kind of like trade for him or like you pick him off free agency, and you're able to turn the free agent pick into draft picks. So
yeah, it could be. But bottom line is he's got 2 of the best corners in the game.
Yep.
That's his hope diamond, because his linebacker crew should be in that category in that statement, but they're not. They've let him down.
Yep.
And with a few adjustments here, he probably could get in the playoffs. He's just going to have to make a few adjustments. Running his safeties I know we didn't talk about them yet, but there's really nothing there. As I said before, nothing really to write home to mom about. The safeties, I don't think. What do you think?
No, I'm not too big on his safeties. But right now I think the safety pool is a little taken.
Oh, yeah. Now, I do notice here, Joe, he's got $14 million in cap space. So, it's not like he couldn't take on a few bad contracts and make a couple of deals that way. Of course, we could look at his, as we'll probably will, his draft picks he is available to trade. So,
yep, let's just take a look there. So he's got a 2023 fourth and a fifth and another fifth. And then he's got a 2024 third, fourth, and 2 fifths. So he's got no first or second draft picks in the next 2 years. So he's kind of all in on these players here.
Well, you know what? Never mind. I'm getting my Cody's mixed up. I thought it was him that sent the group text, but it was the other Cody that sent that text. He was looking for a running back or wide receiver. So,
Yep.
And that's the thing. Bringing that up, guys, let's use that thread. It's okay to update your trade bait, but man, that thread's boom should pop in someone's mind right now. If you pop it on there.
Yeah, I mean that's how I got that trade with Godwin. Is I put it out there. Next thing you know, he's like, "Hey, I'll trade Godwin," and I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Scorpion, very difficult to trade with.
All right. Well, that finishes up the replacements, I believe.
Yep.